Hey, Mike Wolf here, coming to you today from Phoenix, Arizona, where I happen to be at a friend's house where they have all kinds of fancy high-tech equipment for me. So it's not often I get these luxuries while I'm on the road. So I'm very excited to answer somebody's question that came in this morning, and basically asking me, I'm going to read it here because it's quite a detailed question, but I was wondering if I could ask you a question about something that seems like it would make a lot of money, but I just started school to get my realtor's license and really don't know anything about real estate. So I'm just going to stop right there and say, first of all, getting your realtor license is in no way preparation for being a real estate investor. They're two totally, almost unrelated fields. And I'm speaking from experience because I used to be a realtor way back in a previous life. And I can tell you that when you go to real estate training to be a realtor, they're basically teaching you what's important to protect the public from you. So they're going to teach you how to do the contracts properly. They're going to teach you the legalities and stuff like that. They don't teach you anything about anything to do with real estate investing. So that's number one. So getting your real estate license is not going to help you with this. But I'm happy to help you with this. So I want to invest but struggle with starting off. That's very, very common. And I want to invest, I saw your videos on tax liens, but I can't do that without money up front. This property that I found is about 2,000 square feet on an 8,000 square foot lot. Hopefully this can make me that money. Well, I'm wondering, once again, if you can't do tax liens or deeds, they require probably the least amount of money of any strategy that I'm aware of. But doing this 2,000 square foot house on an 8,000 square foot lot is going to require money. But anyway, talks about how the owner's paying it off. That's not really relevant. But the idea is just to tear down the aging 3-bedroom, 2-studio home and build a modern 4-unit quadplex, and talks about tripling the return. And what things should I know, Mike? So there's a whole lot of things that you need to know. Number one is when you talk about tripling your money, well, if you don't know much about real estate and you probably don't know the values of this property, you probably don't know what the value would be of that fourplex that you're going to build, there's a lot of things you need to know. So firstly, what is it going to cost to get this property? Number one. Number two, if you got this property, where are you going to get? You've got to build teams. You're going to have to raise some money. Maybe you could get the owner to carry for you. That's called a VTB, vendor take back. You might be able to get the owner in on it, but there's a lot of moving parts to this. And, if you don't have a team, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the money, you don't have a lot of resources that you're bringing to the table. What you have is maybe a deal. We don't even know that. So the first thing you're going to do is figure out what would it cost to buy this property. Then you're going to have to get some contractors in there, figure out what is it going to cost to tear this thing down, build that fourplex that you're talking about, and then figure out what's the market for that. And also make sure that the zoning is okay. You can't just go rip down a single family home, put up a multi-family property unless you have the proper zoning. So you need to check if that's even a possibility in that area. But most importantly, I think even more important than all this stuff is really, if I decided I wanted to get in shape today, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to skip all that going to the gym. I'm just going to go run a marathon today. If you don't train for it, you just show up at a marathon, you're going to wipe yourself out. You're going to be done. If you try to do a really big real estate deal that has a ton of moving parts, where you don't have the money, you don't have the team, you don't even know if the property is going to be that you're going to build is even worth it in the end. You don't know what your costs are for acquisition, costs are for tearing down, for construction, all that. There are so many moving parts to this thing that if you screw up one of them, you're toast. And so number one is I would start with a much simpler deal, maybe rehabbing a single family home and doing that from start to finish, and then work your way up to something more complicated. And number two, while you do that, you're going to start building the resources. Finding somebody who can do a reno for you on a single family home is a lot different than having somebody do a tear down and build you, a large multifamily property. There's a lot more contractors that you need, a lot more expense. So learn how to do things on less dangerous projects where there's, if you make an error, it's not going to wipe you out, and where you can learn from it and use to get to your next deal, which may be a little bit more complicated. But along the way, you're going to learn how to work with teams. You're going to learn how to raise funds. There's a lot of things that will make it easier down the road to do a deal like this. Now, having said that, if this is truly a good deal, and I would do the due diligence on it, then maybe what you want to do is wholesale it. Let somebody else do the deal. So what that means is you're going to sell the deal to somebody else. You're going to put it under contract, find somebody else who's got the know-how, experience, etc., and then make a profit by selling them the deal. Or you could get somebody to do a joint venture with you, saying, hey, I've got the deal. If you're willing to do the work, I'll help do some of the work. Let me know what I need to do. I really want to learn. And maybe let your partner make most of the money on it in exchange for getting an education. That would make a lot of sense. Or you mentioned my tax deeds course, which I do in Houston. Well, I'm going to teach you how to buy properties. One of my clients just picked up a property not long ago for a single family home for $7,200. So it's much easier to raise $7,200 than it is to get this probably 2,000 square foot house. I don't know what market you're in. And it definitely is a lot cheaper than what you're going to have to spend to build this property. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. I wish you luck. And anybody who has a question for me, by all means, feel free to email me at info@mikewolfmastery.com. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share this with anybody that you think might benefit from it. And I look forward to helping you in the future. So send me your questions. Thanks a lot. I'm Mike Wolf.